Hello and welcome back to another episode of Turnbull's Threads with me, Kathy Turnbull, your host. So if you don't already know, I'm Kathy Turnbull. I talk about what I am currently crafting on this channel. And I try to do monthly updates, roughly. So I mostly talk about knitting and cross stitch, but another couple of things will occasionally show up. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So in the last month, what have I done? So I did have a fairly busy last month, but I did manage to get some things done. So I have a couple of finished objects, like fully finished, one. And some things that are basically most of the stuff is finished. It's just a couple of little details left. So let's get started. So my first thing is this. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this before. So this is the Stay Up Till Dawn pullover by Veronika Lindberg. I talked about this last time. I had gotten to here. Oh, you can see really nicely. Yes, that line, you can actually see it in person. It is really obvious. So I had gotten to there and I had run out of the yarn that I originally had. And so I had to order more yarn for it. And the yarn that I'd been using was from Stash, and it was several years from Stash. And so, yeah, the new stuff is not quite the same. It actually does feel different, but because of how I was knitting it, so I knit my sleeves two at a time, it looks like a design choice. So this is Dark Mauve in Softy Chunky by Bernay Yarns. It's an acrylic yarn. It's going to be really nice. I'm going to throw it in the washing machine. Washing machine and dryer, it's safe. So it was a very, very, very fast knit, except for the fact that I ran out of yarn. I really enjoy it, highly recommend it. I like the old yarn, it was really nice. The newer stuff, it didn't have as nice a hand feel, it wasn't as drapey. I don't know if that was a lot thing or if they've changed how they've manufactured it. It might be that. But I am very happy with it. It is totally done. Doesn't need blocking because it is acrylic, so it's not getting blocked. I am not trying it on because it is hot. And yeah, I'm not putting on long sleeves. Nope, not happening. So that was the first thing that got done over the last month. I still can't show you that special project where I showed you a sneak peek last time because it's still not published. As soon as it's published, I'll show it. But the Sweet Poppy pullover, whenever it comes out and is published, I will show you my completed version of it. Since I'm allowed to tease about it, but not actually show it. The next things that I have are two cross stitch items. So I have a couple of mill hill kits that I finished. So the first one is this. So this is the Silvery Christmas tree. It's part of the Festive Tree Ornaments collection. I am gonna take pictures of everything that I show and put them in at the end. I could probably do it in here, but that requires more editing than I really want to do, so yeah, you're going to get it at the end. There'll be basically a slideshow. A slideshow of all of the things that I'm showing here at the end, if you want to see them a little bit closer. Or you can check out my Instagram, because a lot of them show up there too. So I did enjoy. This was a fun little cross stitch. It was a lot more intensive than some of the other mill hill kits that I've done, because there was a ton of confetti in the actual tree. So my back does not look very good. It's there's there's thread all over the place, but because it's not fully finished yet, I'm gonna put a felt back on it. Do the same thing like I did for the pansy magnet that I did before. Also find felt that will not melt onto my iron while I'm doing it. Learn from my past mistakes. And then this will be finished. So that's one of my finished. And the other thing that I finished cross stitch wise was this. So another mill hill kit. I literally just finished this yesterday. My parents were visiting, and so I haven't been for the last 2 weeks. My parents have been visiting, so I haven't been getting quite as much crafting done as I have when my parents aren't visiting, but we went to Lincoln, Nebraska yesterday, which was like a 3-hour drive for us. And I had most of it finished, but I finished up the beading then, and I am quite happy with it. Likewise, need to finish the back. That's essentially it. Both of those I'm gonna do the words felt with fusion fabric web, something like that. Fusible fabric web, that might be it. Which will attach it to the back of this, and then I'll put my magnet on, and it'll be done. And I will have 2 fully finished items next week for that. The last thing that I have finished, but not fully finished, I finished the knitting part, I need to still do other stuff, is the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry. So this here is the Shift Cowl, and it would help if I figured out where, top bottom. So yeah. So this has basically an integrated I-cord bind off along the top and along one side as you're doing it, and then for the final one you bind off as you're binding. You bind off in an I-cord, and then I technically need to block this. I need to decide if I'm going to block this first. I may decide not. I probably do, because it is curling along that edge right here, because it's sort of tight on here. I think my tension was off on my knitting here, so this is curling a lot. So I might block it. I might have to block it. Anyways, watching me make decisions in real time, isn't this fun? I have to block it then and sew up the back. So this is a cowl, so that's spelled C-O-W-L, and those are kind of like scarves but in a circle. So what'll happen is this will get sewed up in the back, and then you'll have basically a tube with like a long piece in the front and a shorter piece in the back. So then you put your head through, and it kind of looks like this. Eek. Yeah. So that is finished. It was a lot of fun to knit. If you do knit, I highly recommend it. And if you have a number of like odd balls of worsted or odd skeins of worsted weight yarn that kind of go together, then this is a perfect project for that, because it uses up almost the entire ball, and so you're not left with a bunch of extra, and it's really fun to knit. So, highly recommend. Do with that what you will. So that is all of my finished objects. So in typical fashion, we're going to continue on to my works in progress, of which there are many. So let us continue. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna talk about is this one right here. So this is one of my alternate crafts things. It's not finished. I tried it on, well, we forget to the hem. The hem is way too long and it needs finished. I need to cut it. But I was letting it hang and then my parents came and then it just got shoved off. So I need to go back to it. So it's too long. My sleeves are also too long. They need to be chopped so that they're not basically long sleeves instead of being 3/4 lengths. It's a little bit too wide on me, so I'm probably gonna take in a little bit on the seams, or at least try to figure out how to take in a little bit on the seams. So this is actually my first sewn garment. First time trying to sew a garment. And yes, it's rough. Yes, there are things that could be done better. It is definitely not perfect. Like my pockets here, they're too low. I put them in a little bit too low. They should probably start up here. They're like 2 to 3 inches too low, so they end up being really low on your body. Like I said, it's not correct around the waist, so that probably needs, like, I need to probably take in the armhole and the waist. The sleeves are too short, the hem is too long. But I was really happy with it. Like, it's gonna be so much fun once I finish, because look at it, there's dinosaurs in the gray, and then it's shiny and sparkly in the gray section. So, it's gonna be so much fun once I do it. So this is gonna be a fall dress for me. But yeah, I need to edit it. The first time was not perfect. So, it's not gonna be perfect, let's be real. I'm not going to take the time and effort to make it totally perfect, but I do want it to fit a little bit better. So like, I'm not gonna adjust the pockets. The pockets are where they are. They're put in. I am not trying to redo they were a pain to do the first time. I'm not redoing that. But I can and will see about taking in a little bit on the sides to make it fit a little bit better, probably a little bit under the armpit to make that fit a little bit better, definitely chopping the sleeve so that it's more of a 3/4 length instead of a basically long sleeve, like a short long sleeve. So I don't want it here, I would like it like up here. Slight difference. I'll probably do the body adjustments first, and then depending on where my body is, then work with the arms, but I'm not sure. We're going to wing it at this point. So that was my first unfinished object. So, UFOs. The next thing that I'm gonna talk about is the thing that I just started today. So this here is my very teeny tiny itsy bitsy little start on the Adventure Begins backpack by Hortense Maskins. So it's a pattern that came with the balls of yarn, my yarn of the month one. So this is Cherry Blossom. It's this color. See? Real nice color. So I just started it today. Cast on and got like 2 rows done. We'll see how it goes. I read through the instructions and I feel like things are left out. Like, I think the knitting is all there, but I feel like the actual, like, this is how you put it together instructions are very sparse and not very well written. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But we'll try. We'll see what happens with it. So that's the first thing that I started. The second thing that I started is this bad boy. Once again, a pretty new start. So this is part of the Visby long cardigan. This is a test knit that I am working on that's currently on hiatus, but I was behind everyone on it. So I'm going ahead and at least getting up to the part where there weren't any. I'm going to go through and get to the part where there wasn't any issues, because people were having a lot of issues like after the initial part. And so it's on hiatus while the pattern author goes through and like actually goes back through and edits and gets everything back in order. But for like the first 6 inches, you're supposed to be doing stockinette. Not stockinette, seed stitch for 6 inches. So I was like, I should go ahead and get like that 6 inches done, because that's 6 inches that I won't have to knit later once I have like more of a firm deadline. So I'm doing this with a single ply wool and then Iodine Woods flannel in the buffalo color, I believe. So it's an alpaca and I'm holding it with the wool and it looks like this. I'm thinking once we get further up and into like the more intricate, like, because there's a bunch of cabling in this, I'm going to have some fun and potentially basically isolate, right? So instead of knitting with both like what I'm doing now, I'll go ahead and like just for the cables do it with one, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's like I'm only just gonna get the seed stitch stuff finished, so yeah, it's a future problem. It's not something I have to come up with now. The next thing that I'm working on, knitting wise, yes, I know it's hard. It's a ton of knitting at the start. I have a number of projects that I've been working on. So the project that I'm working on here is actually another test knit, and it's called let me pull it, Harwood by Lori Wagner. So it's another cowl, and it's a brioche knit. So you can see there's one side, and because it's brioche knitting, it means it's going to be fully reversible, and so there's the other side. And it looks so cool. So like if you want subtle, you go with the one side. If you want bold, you can go with the other side. It's been a fun knit. Now, this row down here had me all discombobulated because I'd forgotten how to brioche knit. I've only done it once or twice before. And it had been a couple of months since I've done it. And so when, like, the way that you have to carry your yarn over in order for it to work out as you're knitting, so that, like, the legs, because you see the, like, really nice stark lines here, right? So you can't have anything going on top of it. And you manage that with how you do your yarn overs during your knitting and purling across. I'd forgotten how to manage my yarn overs, and so I was having problems where like I was getting legs on top of what I had, and yeah, it took a little while, but I figured it out. I got it. I think I'm good. Until we start doing it in the round. That'll be a fun, new, interesting endeavor. But while we're doing it flat, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. So, happy with that. The final knitting actually this is the final knitting work in progress that I have, that I've been working on, is this. So this here, this is my work knit. So this is Mysterium by Dear Ingenue in Mermaid Scales, and I think I told you before that I was alternating. Yeah, and you can really tell. So yeah, same colorway, same yarn, but you can tell that the dye lots were very different on these. So for this one, right, I am alternating so that you're not going to end up with like a really stark line when this one gets switched with this one. Yeah. But it's turning out good. It's a work knit. It's a nice stockinette for another number of inches. So work meetings, love it. Yeah. I have nothing else to say about it. So that gets me all through my knitting. So now we'll go into cross stitch, which there's slightly more projects, probably not as much progress, but more projects. Things I do. So the first thing that I have is the one that I started for Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe's birthday. Sal, her Hello 40. So pattern from Hello Liz Matthews for her birthday, and that is, I'm not sure how much, if anything, I have done. I think I got a couple of stitches in there, but it's basically the same as last time. I'm doing it on peppermint stripes and using DMC 4518, which is Mulhouse, maybe? I don't know. It has a special name, but I don't remember what it is. So there we go. The next thing that I have worked on was my long dog sampler. So whales and ships. I worked a little bit on the center. I haven't yet finished my embroidery hoop, so I still need to. I'm still in the same section, but this is on a banana oil fabric, and it looks so good. It's so pretty. And yep, and the needle minder on there was one that I bought. So the next thing that I'm going to show is not for the actual stitching, because I haven't actually worked on this since the last time I showed it, but I did make a needle minder for it. So Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe for a while back did this is how you make needle minders, essentially. So using that, I decided to make some needle minders for myself since I needed some, so I got a phoenix done for that. Oh, let me pull the other ones. I have a little stage wagon on this one. I have a horse cameo on my swan, and I think that covers, yeah. So that's all of the ones that I didn't do any stitching on, but I made needle minders for, and so I wanted to show you the needle minders because I'm really happy with them. The next ones will probably have, like, if they have a needle minder, for the most part, I think I've made them. I'll let you know if it's something else and if I remember where I found it. But otherwise, it's something I made, and so, yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So my next project is ink circles, and it is blue tulips. So that one. So this was more of an impulse start. I'd gotten the pattern a little bit ago, really liked how it looked, so was planning on doing it at some point, and then kind of impulse started it. I am stitching it with unknown colors and unknown fabric. So the colors are these. So there's a dark blue, a really vibrant green. That green's about right in the sun. Dark blue, like a emerald green, kind of a faded grass green, and then more of a brighter blue. Yeah, I don't know what colors these are. Some of them did not come with colors, but some of them had been DMCs, but years ago, before I knew about DMC and colors and such. I had organized some of the floss by color and did not attach what colors they were to it, so I no longer have that information on these. So they are colors. So on things where I'm not trying to get necessarily an exact DMC match, and I think I have enough, I just pull from that box of colors. And then the cloth is a linen-like cloth that I got off a D-stash from someone. And it didn't come with a name or what count or anything. So I don't actually know anything about the cloth. I know nothing about the thread and I know nothing about the cloth, but I am doing stitching. I am actually using a Gibbs company hoop on this, so I know something about the hoop. It's the only thing I know. And the needle minder. So the needle minder I did make. This is a little book and it says Sense and Sensibility on it, and it is so adorable. But I have finished the center motif, so I'm doing this with one strand over two. And part of the reason why I'm filming now is because I'm about ready to move the hoop, and as you have seen from all of my other projects, I don't take it out of the hoop. Once it's in the hoop, it's in the hoop until I move the hoop because I need to stitch elsewhere. So I wanted to make sure that you were able to see the center before I move it. And it's turning out really nice. I did read the pattern wrong, and so some of the blues are not correct according to how the pattern would have you, like which blue I chose for a certain color or for a certain pattern symbol is not correct in terms of like the placement on here currently. But that's okay because it's not like I'm using the called for colors anyway. So yes, I'm going rogue on this one. Maybe I'll have it finished by the next time you see me. Possibly. Entirely possible. The next one that I worked on is this one. This one, as I slowly bring it up. So this here is what I have done. And this is Dimensions Angel of Harmony. And it looks like this. So this was actually one of the stitches that I started and had ready for Midsummer Stitches. Midsummer Stitch, which was an online stitching retreat hosted by Stephanie from Lindy Stitches, happened 2 weeks? 3 weekends ago. 3 weekends ago now, right? So this is the second weekend since it, so however you do the math, like mid-August, mid-July. Mid-July is when it happened. This is just the beginning of August, not mid-August. Mid-July is when it happened, and it was an online stitch retreat where it started Friday evening, went through all of Saturday. It was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you, Stephanie and Jason, for putting that on. I really enjoyed the 2 classes that you had with Robin Pickens and Annie Chow from XO Needle and the Hay XO. Those were really fun. I need to do the projects. I have not yet started either of those projects, in part because I need to go to a thrift store and find a jewelry box for one of them. And then the other one, I just really haven't had time to start it. So those were really good and fun classes, and then being able to interact with some of the people and other floss tubers on YouTube on the nights when you were stitching with them was great. I got in with Cross Stitch the Globe and the Hathaway Stitchers, and they were very fun to see in more of like a table setting, be able to interact. I wish I'd been able to see Thread Gremlins, which is Caroline, Amy, and Elizabeth, but I was with other people, so I did meet a number of new stitchers out there. I think one of them has subscribed to me, so hi! Glad to see you! I'm finally talking again. But Amy, or Alex, Janet, Sharon, Elizabeth, Allie, Jessie, and many others that I met either in the speed dating or talking at the tables. It was great to meet some new people. Really fun, enjoyed it. I highly recommend. I will probably be trying to go to I will make an effort to go to the Jingle Ball later on this year in December. And really wanted to thank Stephanie and Jason from Lundy Stitches for putting it together, doing such a great job. Yes, I know there were some stressful parts to it and things didn't necessarily always go the way they wanted, but it was wonderful. And even with the small baubles, like, I totally and thoroughly enjoyed it and recommend it to anyone else who plans on doing something like this, who enjoys cross stitch and would like to interact with other cross stitchers. It was really fun. I know there was someone from Iowa also on there who's looking for an in-life person from the Des Moines area, so if she or you know who that was, feel free to put her in contact with me. I would love to get to know someone in real life. Someone in my area that we could cross stitch together. But that being said, really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. And if you don't watch the channels that I mentioned before, go into it. They're great to watch and they're very fun. So that being said, now that we have gotten the context behind this piece, so I had started this for the Bring Out Your Kit sale from the Thread Gremlins, and I had gotten part of it, and then when Stephanie and Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe went through and were like, hey, this is how you prepare for an online or an in-person stitching retreat, since I had never been to one before, they suggested doing things with a bunch of block stitching. So I got 2 projects essentially ready so that it would be the kind of stitching that I didn't necessarily need to pay a ton of attention to, so I could pay attention to other things like talking with other people during the speed rounds or in the stitching tables, or paying attention a little bit to the classes as they were going on, because I would like to be able to go ahead and do things like make my own special stitching box or do the mason jar labels. Those seem like really good ideas and I would enjoy doing them. But I wasn't doing them with them at that point in time, so I figured do something that's easy. So pretty much all of the cream stuff in here, that was my midsummer stitch. I added some other stuff, so I've been adding the teal and some of the blues and definitely the pinks. That's been after, but this is what I started for it, and I did actually get a good bit of progress done on it. I was quite happy. So that is that. And then I have this bad boy, which I haven't done a ton of work on. Did a little bit. Yeah, that's the right size. So this is where I am with Ophelia. She's being a little bit neglected because I got distracted by other things. And I had parents visiting. So this is what Ophelia looks like in total. This is where I am with Ophelia. I need to work on her. Well, not especially if I want to get her finished. She is my Mirabilia Leap Day Sal. Or at least one of them. But yeah, I do need to work on her. So, a couple more projects. So I mentioned previously when I talked about the Angel of Harmony that I had 2 projects that I had prepared for doing midsummer stitching on. That one and another one, and so this is the other one. So this is Evanora. So this is companion to Claire, which is a piece that I finished 2 episodes back, I believe. So I started her and basically got her ready to do a bunch of block stitching. She is quite fun. I really do enjoy the heavy monochromatic stitching. It's just very fun to do. So here is where she's at. So I got basically, except for the outline stuff, all of the hat is from Midsummer Stitches. I did get off in my count. I had gone over 3 instead of 2 at one point, so I had to rip back during Midsummer Stitches, which was so much fun. Frogging while trying to pay attention to everything. But I managed to get a decent chunk done on her. I do need to come back and work some more on her. So this is done on Helsinki by Jackson Fiber Arts. Once again, it's a stitch minder by me. So this one is Emma. A stitch minder. A needle minder by me, Emma. And we've got a good chunk of her hat done. We need to get the rest of her hat and the rest of her body worked on, but I'm pretty happy with that progress. Need to pull her out again. She is so much fun. I really enjoy working on her, so. Now that my parents are gone, I'll probably have more, and maybe not. This month is gonna be crazy. So that brings me to my next start. So my next start was this one. So Stoney Creek and Joy Silhouette. So it is Joy. Another monochromatic. This is one of the starts that I did for Christmas in July. And I kind of went a little rogue on it again. So I'm doing it on a 14 count Ada in antique blue. And I'm actually using so this is the color. And then what I'm stitching it with is actually a combination. So I am holding a strand of blank or white with, so the strand of DMC blank, white, that, with a strand of this Artiste metallic floss in the color 803593. Anyways, it's like a light blue, white, iridescent kind of color. And if you are in person, because it is holding a regular strand with the iridescent, it has like this really subtle shimmer to it. So it's really fun. And the white helps it stand out on this particular background. I haven't gotten much done on it. I just kind of started it. Also a needle minder by me. Yay! I need to get back to it. I like all my projects. I want to get back to all of them. I feel like I am becoming a genuine floss tuber. Look at all the pretty things I've started. Look at all the pretty things I want to start. I love all of them and I want to come back to them. So that's that project. And then I think the only things that I have left are things that I started for my birthday. So my birthday was this month, yay. Hence why my parents were here for 2 weeks. And because it was my birthday, I was like, let's go ahead and start some fun, hard projects. Start some fun, hard projects and one other. So I did talk about this last time, but I actually did start all 3 or 4 of the things that I said I was going to start for my birthday, I did start. So I didn't necessarily start with a ton, but I did start them. So the first thing that I started was the Leo, because this is my particular sign. At least when I was born, that was what it was. I'm a late July baby. And yeah, I'm doing it on linen, a fat quarter of linen by Grace Notes Fabrics called I Heard It Through the Grapevine. And I just have a teeny tiny, itsy bitsy teeny tiny start on it. But I did get it started, and I did get it started during July. So I feel quite pleased with myself. I think actually it'll be this way. So that's the bottom of the frame. In part, it was because a lot of the colors that it called for, I was like, I don't have that. Because I haven't ordered it yet. And I'm probably not going to order it until I get a little bit further along. But yes, Leo is started. It'll probably be my Nora Corbett kind of focus once I finish Evanora. But my birthday is started. Yay! The next one that I worked on / wanted to get started on is this one. So this is what I have started. Yep, just a little square at the center. So this is raw silver 32 count Belfast linen. And I'm doing it 2/2. And what I am actually stitching is I did start the chatelaine that I bought. So this is Mandala Gardens, number 1, the Knotgarden. Yeah. So I started it. It has DMC, let's see, where, part 16, so I'm back. I have no idea where my last video, or where the video memory ended. I looked up and all of a sudden it was gone. So I was talking about the Chatelaine that I started. The Knotgarden, I don't know what. I haven't looked too much beyond finding one of the DMC colors that I could start it out with. If you haven't figured out by now, I tend to start things and I don't care about them being fully kitted up. That can happen at a later date, or it can happen gradually. Just getting it started, so having the fabric and the pattern, those are the, and at least one thread color, right? It's kind of impossible to do if you don't have at least one thread color. But other than that, very optional on what all I will have to have before I start it. Yeah. So I started that. It is number 16, the Knotgarden, and so far so good. I have the center crossed on. Time to start working outwards. So that was the second of my birthday starts that I wanted to do. I guess technically the Joy was one of them. So the 4 things that I wanted to start in July. Joy for Christmas in July, Leo for my birthday, a Chatelaine for my birthday. And then the last thing that I wanted to get started during my birthday was a Teresa Wentzler. So I am working on, let me pull it up, find it. It would be much more convenient if I were prepared for things and like actually had it bookmarked, but that would require me to actually be on top of my game. And if you haven't guessed, that's not me. Let me see if I can find it again. 22. Where's 22? Yeah, there it is. Found it. So I started this guy. So this is Pegasus. So I started it on, I don't know what it is. So I'm doing it with some type of linen or even weave. It's gonna kind of barely fit on what it is. I think it's a 25 count, but I'm not entirely sure. And I think I went with whatever the plain color was because it's all getting stitched, right? So it's a full coverage piece. And I'm doing it 1/1, so you can see the itty bitty teeny tiny start that I have on it. I am contemplating potentially shifting things around. Because it does basically say, like, do basically cross stitch the entire thing and then some back stitch. I might do some editing and do some tent stitching in with my cross stitching, but we'll see. We'll see. That's a future me problem, not a current me problem. So future me can decide those things later when she wants to. So that is all of my whips or works in progress. Woo! So that leaves us with the section of acquisitions and plans. I had more plans last time. I don't have a ton of plans this time. I really don't have any. I have one thing that I'm going to show you that was more of an acquisition than a plan, but it is also kind of a plan. So, and I don't like to show all of the things that I've bought, or even most of the things that I've bought. If it's something special and I would like to give recognition, so like if I buy special fabrics, so like banana oils or Grace Note fabrics or some of like the smaller businesses, I do like to like at least mention those if I've gotten them. But other than that, you don't need to know what I have. Unless it's really special and for something super special that I want to do. A lot of the stuff, it's like I'm buying it for a project, so okay. Anyways, odd rant aside, I did buy a big box of craft stuff. So needlework, latch hook, cross stitch, crewel, etc. So I bought it primarily for this guy. So this is a crewel needlework, which I've never done before, but it'll be fun. And this is called Playful Kitten. I don't know where they're getting the playful part of it. It looks like an adorable grumpy kitten. And I am so excited to work on said adorable grumpy kitten. But yeah, I would not have labeled this as Playful Kitten in a million years. But Grumpy Kitten is so stinking cute. And I saw this in like the number of things that they had. They had some other things that were kind of pretty, like scenery stuff. If I start them, they'll show up on the channel. So the other stuff in there was nice, but this was why I really wanted it. Because it's so cute, the Grumpy Kitten. So I will be attempting to do crewel soon, so that I can play with Grumpy Kitten, because Grumpy Kitten is stinking cute. Playful kitten, but you get the idea. So yeah, that is my acquisition and future plan. And speaking of that, I did get something in there that I can and would use the yarn, but since it did come with a bunch of things and it was a really good price, I do want to put a kind of first dibs out here just in case there's someone who's watching this who would like it. So in that kit, I also got this. So flower top, it's 873 Bernay, 5 to 11. I don't know, like 60s probably. It's a very flowery crochet top thing. So I don't crochet. I have no intention of learning how to do it, especially not for this. Also, this is not particularly my style, but it is a kit that comes with the pattern and yarn to make, obviously, this top. The flower top. If you are interested and want this, please let me know. Otherwise, yeah, I might end up taking the yarn because it is wool yarn. But if you are interested and would like it, I guess, put in flower, make a comment and put in flower on it. I'm willing to ship it like pretty much anywhere. It's not really a prize, so if you want it, if you're in the US, I'll probably pay shipping for it. But if you're outside the US, it's probably gonna ask you to chip in for shipping on that. If not the full thing, at least half. But kind of give someone first dibs, so you have until the next time that I basically put another video up. I'm not sure how many people are actually watching this, so I'm not sure exactly how many people will do it. But if you do want it, like, put in flower, and like make a comment. You do have to be subscribed if you want it. I'm not doing this really as a giveaway, so kind of the first person who does it gets it. But yeah, don't put in free, don't put in giveaway, because it's not a giveaway. It's not, well, it is free, but I don't want the traffic that those words will bring to this. So if you put in something like that, I will delete it, and it doesn't matter if you were the first person who put in flower or not, because you ain't getting it, because I'm not putting up with that. And besides that, like, that was the main thing, I think. Yep, I have a flower top crochet kit that if someone would like it and essentially is willing to pay shipping for it, other than that, I think that's everything on my end. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So, enjoy the rest of your day, your afternoon, your weekend, your week. Probably will see you here again in a month. Other than that, enjoy your time, and I guess hope to see you soon. If you would like to see more and listen, feel free to subscribe this side to Turnbull's Threads. You can also find me on Instagram, and have a great day. Bye!